This report changes everything for the Padres, as this player might be available and could fill every single hole the Padres have. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Padres Digest with your host, Andrew. Today we had some big news I saw from the interwebs today, and I thought I'd share it with you. It of course, involves Adley Rutschman. If I say his name wrong the entire video, I am so sorry. But before we get into it, please subscribe as always. Every single morning for probably the rest of this week, I'm going to have a different video on a different player because it's trade deadline season. Things are getting crazy. There's 10 more days. Today's the 21st, so I'm recording all of these videos, just FYI. But yeah, big news, right? He might be available, and the Padres do need a catcher, and he could be one of the best in the league. Currently, he's struggling right now, and we'll talk about it in just a second, but this is the article I had in mind. Rosenthal doesn't mention him in the name, but we're focused on the and more MLB notes. So the headline of this article, or this section of it, Rutschman's future in Baltimore in question, ? Here's my favorite quote from the entire mini article part. Still, Rutschman's long-term future in Baltimore is not as certain as it once appeared. He is under club control for only 2 more seasons. The Orioles' interest in signing him to an extension might be waning. Their top prospect, Samuel Basalo, also is a catcher. I'm horrible at reading. You guys know this already. But for his stats this year, 227 average, not great. Only 8 home runs, which isn't horrible, but it's definitely not great. It's okay. But obviously you can see he's done a lot better. 2023 being his breakout year. He was almost a rookie. Was he rookie of the year in 2022? I think he was second place in 2022. But yeah, look at these big number drop-offs. And you're probably thinking, Andrew, why would we want a catcher who isn't playing good anymore? Why? I mean, look how young he is. He's what, 27? I thought he was younger, to be honest. But he's still played as one of the best catchers in the league. It's kind of that same boat as Luis Robert Jr., where you know they're good players with lots of talent, and maybe they just need a change of scenery, a change of coaching, because you've seen him be great. And even still, his stats are better than what we have now, and I'll talk about it in just a second. But let's really quickly do a semi-deep dive into why he's been struggling. Not that this is an Orioles Digest channel, but I think it's clear. I think it's important to understand why he's been struggling before we start being too excited or too against it. So let's get this article from Cadman Chat from John Beers. When Rutschman started to struggle last year, the most noticeable difference in his advanced stats was his chase rate, which ballooned from a career rate of about 23% to a glaring 29%. Swinging at bat pitches, even if you're making contact, will always lead to more outs, as it's harder to make meaningful contact on balls out of the zone. I'm assuming that meant bad pitches. That's okay. That becomes especially true for hitters like Rutschman, who can't make up for questionable swing decisions with great bat speed and exit velocity. This year, the quality of Adley's swing decisions and ability to make contact when he swings are all at times high. When it comes to discipline and commanding the strike zone, the O's catcher is as good as he's ever been. However, good plate discipline doesn't mean anything if you can't convert the hittable pitches into hits. I mean, you can see it too. He's never been a hard hitter, but he hasn't been able to square up the ball. He doesn't swing very hard, but he has been able to square up balls. He doesn't chase a lot, but again, his contact isn't that great. He's not hitting the sweet spot like he was in 2023. But, I mean, his batting average should be better than what it is. His on-base percentage should be better than what it is. His value is pretty poor right now, fielding-wise, too. But you can see him at his best. He's one of the best in the league. And the way they word this is that his value is low enough that they could be willing to sell him. Not cheap. He's not going to be cheap. He's probably going to be on the same level as say Taylor Ward or again Luis Robert Jr., where they're not trying to get rid of him, but if an offer comes to the table that's good enough, they would be willing. And I think the Padres should offer something. Honestly, well, no, I was going to say Salas, but they have catcher prospects, so they don't need Salas. But yeah, another thing too is he's injured right now. He's going to get a minor league rehab assignment pretty soon, but yeah. I mean, look at the defensive runs leaders saved. I mean, I saw the stats, right? But currently he is third with +7 DRS in the year so far. So while it looks like it's not amazing, on defensive on the statistics, it looks fine, right? And we talked about, oh, I guess I can show you that in a sec. But we talked about a quality of contact, right? I mean, 2025, solid hitting, best it's been, barrel percentage, best it's been. So he's been hitting better, but also not better, right? Which is why stats like this are kind of confusing, because you never really know. Like, it doesn't tell you the entire story when you look at the like barrel percentage, the solid percentage, the blah 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 blah. Like, stats don't tell the whole story, right? But look at our catchers on the bottom. Average 200, actually went up a little bit thanks to Maldonado recently, but it's obviously not as good as Rutschman. 227 again, not great, but right, it's better, right? It's better, and there's a lot of upside with someone like Adley Rutschman. A lot of upside, and honestly, I don't see if the price is too high. Obviously, it's not a good move, right? But I don't see the problem with at least asking. You know what I mean? At least throwing something out there, because we definitely have pieces we could give. I'm sure the Orioles want starters because their starters kind of suck, or they're trying to sell and don't want anybody, and we can give them some like relief prospects or something. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to make up deals. I just present players that could be a good option for us. But let me show you that one thing I kind of teased real quick. I forgot I had this. Why Rutschman is struggling in 2025. Prolonged slump dating back to late 2024 is hurting the team's offense, hitting the ball hard but with poor luck, liners turning into outs. Orioles have underperformed in games he's caught. Oblique injury landed him on the IL, halting momentum. Brief flashes of success, like a lucky triple, haven't led to sustained improvement. Another thing I saw, I don't think I have it, but I did see that for some reason, the Orioles play worse when Rutschman's catching. And it's not that because he's like a bad player, but like even last year when he was playing better, when they had James McCann catching, they'd win more games. Take with that as you will. Could be a complete coincidence. It could matter. I don't know. I'll let you digest that information. But in the meantime, I just, like I said, I don't think there's that much. Well, obviously there's risk, right? I just don't think there's a problem with at least like asking. You know what I mean? Is this something you guys are interested in? Do you want him, or would you want someone instead like Sean Murphy, who's more proven, more expensive, right? Let me see how much his contract is, because I do have it brought up here. He's getting $5 million this year. Next year, it might be around the same if he keeps providing this way. But again, he's a bigger name, so you could argue, or his not lawyers, agents could argue more money next year. But he's cheaper than Sean Murphy. I think he has higher upside than Sean Murphy. So I don't know. I like it. I personally like it. Another thing I want to show you real quick before I forget. Maldonado isn't going anywhere for now. That's really small, but hold on, I'll bring it up. Give me a sec. Okay, sorry, brought up on this side. Any push from outside of clubhouse to give up on the light-hitting Maldonado has been quashed, at least for now. Padres still may add a catcher at the deadline, but they have other pressing needs, and Maldonado is valued highly by manager Mike Shildt, the pitching coaches, and the pitchers. So it looks like if we do get a catcher, it's Diaz on the outs, not Maldonado. And while I do prefer Diaz as our backup catcher, I'm not saying I hate having Maldonado on this team if it does benefit the rest of the pitchers. Here's the reality of the situation. I think that would be best if we get Rutschman. And I know his hitting's not great, right? But throwing a catcher in mid-season is super hard because they have to learn the entire staff, how they like to pitch. And obviously, it's the catcher's job to do that. And Niebla will obviously work with them, but it's a hard, difficult situation, right? So because we're probably not going to give up our catchers in the trade, let's send down someone like Brooks, right? Or whoever else we have, Bryce Johnson. I don't know. I don't care. Probably Brooks, right? Let's have Rutschman like DH for the first week or two. Let him see if he can figure it out hitting-wise, because hitting is his biggest problem. We know he can catch, right? And then once he figures things out, let's DFA Diaz, probably not Maldonado, according to Mike Shildt and AJ Preller, and then we can start having Rutschman catch. That might be a horrible idea. Yell at me if you think so. I just thought it off the top of my head, and I felt like it's a pretty good idea. Let me know what you guys think. Look, like I said, do you want Rutschman? Do you hate Rutschman? Do you prefer Sean Murphy? How do you feel about my plan about making him DH until he learns the pitching? And just how do you feel in general? Or list some players you want to talk about, because I will talk about a lot of players coming up pretty soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And as always, go Padres. Goodbye.